Hi there, my name is Jameel, and I'm a therapist here at First Colonial Psychotherapy. And you're Christine, is that right?
Yes.
All right, and is that what you prefer to go by? Is it Christine?
Yeah, that's fine. Christine's fine.
Okay. And so I go by Jameel, Mr. Young, whatever you feel comfortable with, that's fine. And basically, before I get started, just wanted to talk to you about a few things before we really get into things. First and
hmm
foremost, just want to say thank you for seeking us out. With telehealth, it's a little bit awkward talking to your phone, or it looks like you might be on your computer or your laptop. I am too. And so bear with me. I'm still getting used to the new technology as well. If you have any questions or if there are any issues, we can always just reconnect. So no worries there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Also, we have about I think 20 to 30 minutes today. And so just wanted to make sure that, you know that we have plenty of time to talk about whatever, you feel you have need to. I want to address everything. And so, we'll do things that way with that duration, within that duration. And if there are any things that we don't address, we can always speak about those in a future session. But I don't want you to feel rushed in any way. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course. Lastly, um, want you to feel secure in this conversation. I am a mandated reporter, and I'll get into what that means in just a moment. But basically, anything that you say here stays here. We're not in my office, but if we were, I would say figuratively, everything that you say stays within these doors. I don't go and discuss it with anyone else. I don't run and tell my colleagues or anything like that. Basically, this is a safe place to discuss anything that you're experiencing or feeling. With that said, if I do feel that you're going to either potentially hurt yourself or someone else, any harm is going to come to yourself or someone else, or I think there might be sufficient ideation for it, then I'm
hmm
required to report that forward. Does that make sense? Are you okay with that?
No, yeah, no, that's good. I'm
Okay.
glad that you guys do that.
Yeah.
That's a good
Um,
thing.
this way you can kind of trust in the process, but also and we'll have a discussion about that if I think something like that is going to happen. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. With that said, I did read a bit about why you're seeking us out and sort of why you're coming to a therapy session in general today. But I kind of want to hear it from you too. What's going on and how can we help?
Um, so, um, so my mom passed away, a little while ago, and I've been kind of having a hard time with it, to say the
Of
least.
course. Of course.
Uh, it's just really hard, and um, I like to like read like self-help books and stuff, like and usually like talk to friends and stuff to help, but like um I think that I don't think I can do it anymore with just that. Like I think I need more help.
So, of
So,
course, understandable. So um, that's tremendously difficult to deal with. And from what you've said so far, it sounds like you've been trying to kind of manage it on your own as best you can. Is that right?
yeah. Um yes. Yeah. So, uh I mean like I normally like I don't sorry, this is really hard.
No, it's okay. Take your time. What sorts of things? What are you doing? So, reading self-help books, talking to friends. How about family? Um, any siblings, or maybe you said it was your mother that recently
Yeah.
passed away. How about your father? Are you able to talk to them about things as well?
So it's kind of hard to talk to him because he's going through so much right now, and I feel like the people that really that are mourning too, they can't, like we can connect, but at the same time, like I just don't want to add one more thing. And
I understand.
and I just keep thinking, like when I talk to them about it, I'm like, how can I talk to my dad about this? Like when he's going through it. Like he lost his wife, and they did everything together. They've been together for like 40 years, and I'm the baby. Like I'm not um I'm not really close with my siblings either. So
Okay.
they're local. I'm not. So I'm
Oh,
not even there. Yeah.
okay.
And I wish that I was, but I'm not. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I guess. Is what
Of
I'm
course.
saying.
So
Like, I
yeah,
don't know. Like I'll talk to like my friends and stuff about it, but they don't they don't know her.
of course.
And um talking to my family, like I said, it just feels like forced, like, and I'm making things worse for them because I'm
Okay.
not there.
Understandable. Um, First of all, know that everything that you've told me so far and everything that I'm hearing is perfectly natural. You've experienced something, that is terribly difficult and challenging to deal with. You've been trying to self-manage it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people do, and I think in time, and we'll discuss this as well as to whether or not this is a goal for you. But one of the goals that a lot of people do look toward achieving is being able to eventually manage this on your own as well. Um, but that's a process, and it does take time, and it will take time, and that is okay. So know that what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, there is no timer, there's no get over it sort of thing, so much as move forward with it. And so I want to help you do that. Um, you did speak a bit about feeling guilty with regard to presence, maybe with your siblings who are local, and then also talking about this with your father, and potentially making it worse. Tell me, if you would, at first, about what it's like when you speak about this with your father, or has that even occurred? Has there been any conversation like that? I know this
No,
was
it's
recent, so
so I don't have the best relationship with my sister, with my older sister. She's local there and she's got a family. Um, like, but she was there for it and helping them. Um, so when mom got sick, she was the one that was helping to take care of things. And, my dad tries, but like he's older now. So like I went and
right,
saw them last Christmas and like I could tell like, he's slowing down. He just can't take care of things the way that he used to.
of course. Well,
And
that's
he's all
understandable.
and so I just when she got sick, um, my sister was the one that helped more than I did, obviously. So like and like they're older, so like they've they've gone through school, they've done their stuff, they did their career, and I'm just starting my career and stuff. So like I can't just
That makes sense. And so I understand. Um, and were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
um I was just saying like I can't I think that's why I feel bad. Like I've done enough like thinking about why I what like what why can't I just talk to them about this, or why is this so like hard to like just pick up the phone and say like I'm not okay, guys, I need help,
Right.
and ask them for help. And I think um it's because where do I get off doing that, like
Yeah.
I wasn't there when they were cleaning her sheets and like taking care of her and taking her to the bathroom and stuff and
Right.
cleaning her up, like and now she's gone and I never will, like, and so they've got their own. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Um,
um I mean I'm trying. I like got up, I put on I I get up, I wash my face, I do all the things that like I read to do to try to like feel normal and just do the next thing, but it doesn't feel like it's enough. And like, I couldn't even take my dog out. Like, she
After you
just,
heard what had happened.
no, like it, yeah, like sometimes I just feel so bad that I wasn't there.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of the feeling of guilt associated with not only um, presence when it seems like I'm taking she was sick for a while leading up to this. Okay.
Yeah.
And additionally, though, now that she has gone and passed on, that guilt is possibly getting in the way of us being able to speak with our family about what happened. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah.
All right. One of the things that I would like to work on is that feeling of guilt, because one thing that binds all of you in this moment is that you've all experienced the same loss. And one of the things that I've found helps is being able to speak to other people who have also experienced the same loss. And in this situation, you've got a family that you could potentially talk to if it's the right time for you to do so. And that has to feel good for you. And also you need to gauge it too with them. From what you've said, it doesn't sound like they've given you any reason not to. This is all an us thing. This is all something that you're feeling right now. And I'd like to encourage you, maybe over the next few days, to maybe reach out to one of the family members that you're closest with and maybe just have an open conversation. How are you feeling about things? It sounds like there's been a while, or there was a while, with her being sick and kind of declining
Yeah.
health.
Sorry.
And it's fine. It's fine. With that said, though, they probably are missing you. And if you weren't there then, this is a good opportunity to potentially be there now.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
no, you're fine. Take your time.
Second, apologize.
No worries. No worries at all. None whatsoever. Especially given the pandemic and all of this happening at once, you're most likely trying to deal with a lot of things at once. And
yeah,
I'm lucky in that my roommate here is a very small dog, so you won't hear it. But if you do, I apologize. But no worries.
Here, let me try to put her over here real quick.
Sure, sure.
Come on.
Take your time. So you did say that you like reading self-help books a lot.
I do.
And also I noticed from, there's your roommate now.
Yeah.
I noticed also just from the way that you wrote, you're actually a pretty good writer as well, in my opinion, at least. And so some of the things that I wanted to encourage, and something that I often encourage, is maybe just writing some of this down, keeping a journal of the things that you're feeling. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but can include writing something maybe even to your mother who's passed on. Anything that'll help us move forward. Because again, grief, it's almost like a multitasking emotion. And at times you're going to feel highs, and that's okay. And you'll feel happy and maybe laugh about some things that you remember. And other times you're going to feel the lows, and it's going to tug at the same things that like love might tug at as well. It feels the same way. And when a person celebrates something great, like the birth of their new child, no one says, oh, that's so great that you're experiencing all the wonderful emotions of birth of a new child, and then 5 years later says something like, another birthday, really? No one says get over that. It's an emotion, just like that. Same feelings. That said, highly encourage talking to someone in the family about it. It may very well be that they need you right now, and that might help you too. And so something to consider. Also, since I know that you are well read and you like to read some books. I have a few that I myself and a lot of other clients have really found helpful. So I'll
Hmm.
recommend a few authors for you as well. And I believe it was Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, sorrow makes us all children again and destroys all differences of intellect, causes the wisest to know nothing. There isn't an immediate answer or an
Yeah.
immediate fix for this. And so know also that your family may be experiencing a lot of highs and lows as well. And
Yeah.
so temper that. It may get worse before it gets better, but we're looking to move on, not get over it, but move forward. And that will take however long it takes. Okay, but it sounds like you have a sound head on your shoulders. Um, but again, it's a process. Okay. Um, with that said, talking to your father, does that sound like something that you would be able to do over the next couple of days? Or is that off the table for now, which is fine too?
I can try. I don't, he has some tests coming up,
Mm,
um,
okay,
that his health is not. So I guess I should tell you more. His
sure.
health, his health is not really great either. My mom was taking care of him. He's on full disability,
See,
and I mean, he could do. It's for his back, and I mean, he still does like a whole lot, but I mean, it's becoming harder and harder for him to kind of get around and do things. And um, then when my mom got sick, like I said, my oldest sister helped. I could talk to my brother maybe about it. He's there too, but um, he's got his hands full as well. Um, he's got a baby on the way, and
mm,
see what's going on. I think you're probably right though that a lot of it is just me, like how I see myself in the family. Like I'm the one that like always, you know, is the one that needs to be taken care of, and like I always get that like feeling. And so coming to them with more problems or reaching out that, I'm having a hard time is just, I don't know, it makes me
okay.
feel bad, I guess.
Well, and know this too. It isn't so much about me being right. I want to help you find your way in this. And so
Yeah.
there's a possibility that your father, based on what you've said, needs a Christine in his life right now. Sounds like since he has some tests going up, and maybe you feel that you haven't been as present as the other family members were when your mother was ailing,
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity to reinsert and then see how that goes.
Yeah.
Um, because all of you are dealing with the grief. Everyone is going to deal with it a different way. And hearing that from others, helping service sometimes is a big help as well. So maybe doing some things for your father and helping him through the process of just like continuing good health outcomes might help with the grieving process too. Um, with that said,
Yeah.
how is the grieving process going for you yourself with regard to the loss of your mother?
So at first um, I mean, she was in like a lot of pain, and
Hmm.
um, uh, she had breast cancer, and this was the second time that she's gotten it, and it just got really bad. So um, she was done after going through the first treatment. I think that the second time her heart just wasn't in it, so that was really hard, and it scares me uh,
Worse?
a lot, right? But so it was difficult, and I saw it happen the first time because the first time that she had breast cancer, I was still at home. I was going to school.
Okay.
So I had just like graduated when she was going through her treatments and everything.
I see.
Um, so I know what it's like. I mean, I know how
Right.
terrible you feel, you know? And
Of course.
um, and I think like I know that it's better. She's better, and I think that maybe kind of like makes me feel better knowing that she's not in pain anymore.
Right.
Um, but then I just feel like super like overwhelmed and crushed that like sometimes I'm totally okay, but then sometimes like I feel totally crushed that I can't call her anymore. Like talk to
Of
her
course.
anymore. Like she's gone. That's it. And and then I think about like me and how that could be me and I would be alone and how that would be and it just makes me feel like I don't like want to do anything. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like
Kind of
I've
numb, would you
found
say?
myself like I'm sorry.
Kind of numb, would you say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, like I would say yeah, like I'm going I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die like she is, like she
Mm,
did, and I don't want that.
okay.
And uh that's what I have to look forward to.
Mm, okay. All right. With regard to your mother, and we will talk about that as well, because while that is an inescapable truth of life, at the same time, one of the things that we definitely need to do is honor those that we've lost by continuing to live and to live on in a way maybe even that they would have wanted us to. How would your mother, and before I even ask that, first of all, she made it. She beat cancer once, from what you
Yeah.
said. So she sounds like a pretty strong woman. Is that right? A pretty strong person in general to have made it through that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very stubborn.
Stubborn, okay.
She's very stubborn.
Stubbornness can serve us well at some times, and
Yeah.
we'll characterize it that way. Like it sounds like you have a pretty positive image of her and who she was.
Yeah.
How would she want you to live? What advice would she give you right now about getting through her passing?
She would tell me not to come home, probably. She would tell me she she would tell me to live my life for me
Okay.
and not to go help take care of my dad. That's what she would tell me to do.
And so she would kind of encourage you to live a full life and to do things for yourself and for like toward your future, maybe positive outcomes for your future.
Yeah.
That sound right?
Yeah. Yeah, she would.
From what I heard earlier, though, the daughter in you also wants to help dad because I heard some guilt in you not wanting to disrupt his life with the way that you're feeling.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
I, I
Yes. That
want you
is
to,
true.
yeah. So we're going to temper that in some ways, um, because they're both valid. And the main thing that I would take from, and I want you to take from what you think your mother would say, is that concept of living and moving forward and living well, and in that way honoring her memory. Um, I think the concept of moving on and also remembering are not conflicting ideas, and we can do both at the same time. And so, one thing that I want to make sure that you don't do is shut down that numbness that you talked a little bit about, and not really wanting to do anything, but also not knowing what to do. Those can be paralyzing, and that's when
Yeah.
you stop and then sort of go. I don't know what to do or how to do this.
Yeah.
So you got a bit of a social network. You've got a couple of resources. There are people you can talk to, but again, when you're ready to, if you even want to. Your father does have health issues that you told me about, but at the same time, even just knowing that you're there, and it might not be physically there, but present and available,
Hmm.
that can help. And it might end up helping you along the way as well. Same thing goes for your siblings. We haven't talked much about um, your relationship with your siblings, but if you think that that's something that you could do, by all means. And it doesn't have to be in person. I don't know. You said they're local, right?
Yeah, they're not here though. They're in
Okay.
Wisconsin with
Oh, okay,
my
okay.
dad and stuff.
Got you. Okay,
My brother travels though, so sometimes he would
okay,
end up coming here, which is kind of cool.
okay. Um,
So I get to see him sometimes.
well, I don't know how tech savvy you are, but you and I are both at least tech savvy enough to do this. So this
Yeah.
is an option,
Yeah.
especially with the holidays coming up too. I know that loss can be very difficult, especially coming up with the holidays. This is a really good opportunity to just let them know that you're available.
Yeah.
In so doing,
No,
you're also, oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say no, you're right. Yeah,
Well,
this is a good.
and in so doing, though, you're also making like you're available for them, but they're also going to become available for you. So you're going to have an outlet. Of course, you've got me, anyone here, but there's a difference between what you're feeling and the guilt that you're feeling about not having been there for a certain period of time. Um, and I want to make sure that we're distinguishing between the two. There's the trauma of loss, and then
Hmm.
there's identifying certain things that'll help us move forward. And so it seems like, and I know it's kind of raw, but since there was a period of time that she was sick, right, and her health was
Yeah.
declining, um, it sounds like from what you said also, she's no longer suffering. You're you were a bit prepared for it. Um,
Yes.
with that said, though, you're also kind of dealing with the aftermath, how you feel, and then also how you can get through some of these things. So as we continue to speak, we'll just take it day by day. Um, reaching out to your family is one way to start. You like to write, you like to read
Yeah.
rather. I can see that
Yeah.
you're proficient and quite good and eloquent with your writing, so you can always do that as well. If you want to write a letter to her, you can do that. If you want to bring it telehealth to our next session, you can do that as well. But no requirements. It's more to start to get some of these feelings out so that you can distinguish sort of the grief of what's happened from the trauma. Um,
Yeah, I think writing a letter would probably be a really good idea
oh, okay.
and probably something that I'm gonna do. I don't know why I don't know why I didn't think about doing it before. It sounds like seems
There,
so simple, right? Like,
who could? These
jeez.
these are things that I have the perspective and the privilege of being able to say and help other people with. But by all means, I probably would need the same. I need
Yeah.
someone to talk to. And so I want to also just let you know it takes a bit of courage to actually reach out and talk to someone about things. Um, and so I applaud you for that as well. You have a sound head on your shoulders, and it sounds like you're dealing with things that are perfectly natural. Um, you're free to grieve however you need to. And the guilt that you're feeling, I want to help you work through that as well, because I think that will help you with the grieving process too. Because while it sounds like you're dealing with it well right now, again, it's a multitasking emotion, and it might
Yeah.
get worse before it gets better. So we want to be prepared for that and then just help you move forward. Right? But that doesn't mean get over it. And remember that too. You know, there's no amount of guilt that you should be feeling with regard to talking to this about anyone. And I want to make sure that you know that too. But I do understand how you're feeling about, what you said about not being there, but we can't go back. You
Yeah.
can live the way your mother would want you to live now. And
Yeah.
that daughter that I hear inside of you that wants to help your dad, but maybe you don't know how to start that conversation, maybe start it through a sibling. or just call dad, give him a text if it's been a while, sometimes
If he
that's
can
all it
find his
takes.
phone.
Yeah,
Yeah, if he can
yeah.
find his phone, I don't know. I'll have to probably call Jason and ask him,
Okay.
hey, next time you're over, I think you could
Put
let me
dad's
know,
phone in
and
front of him.
I'll call and see. So, because he's hard, like,
Mhm.
how
Yeah,
do I turn the camera on? I don't know how to do this.
no, that makes
It's pretty
sense.
bad. It's pretty bad.
Um, do
My
you
mom
feel
mostly handles
comfortable?
that.
Wow, understandable. Do you feel comfortable reaching out over the next couple of days? Think you could do that?
Yeah, yeah.
That
I'll reach out to
guilt,
them.
that guilt will go away in time. And that's the kind of work that we need to do in order to get it to go away as well. This way you can breathe properly, and maybe with some people who loved your mom too. Um, Holding on to the past in some ways can leave your arms too full to really embrace the present. And so I want to make sure that you're able to do that so that you can continue to live the life that your mom wanted you to live. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
With that said, we are approaching the end of the time that we have together. One thing I always want to make sure that you can always email us. I'm going to send you a few resources as well through your email. And so check that a little bit later on. And if you have any questions about anything, any burning questions or issues or anything like that before or in between our sessions, you can always just email or give the office a call, okay?
Okay.
Any questions, anything else that you'd like to sort of talk about today?
Um, when am I gonna start feeling better?
Yeah,
No, I
good. That's a great
no,
question
it's
though,
yeah.
right?
I
Uh,
yeah.
so I think that is one of the most natural questions that anyone would have. Right now, you're not feeling so great. And I, this isn't the answer that you want, but I think it's the answer that will help most. And that is there's no timer on this. Um, and you're allowed to breathe and feel the way you're feeling, all of it, for as long as you need to.
Yeah.
Um, and the more that we talk about it, and maybe the more that you get some reinforcement from your family or from these sessions or from writing or any of the resources that we talk about or that you find on your own, and I'll find, and we'll vet those too. Um, the more I think you'll realize or start to feel that it diminishes the down feelings. We can also think of this in terms of the book. That last sentence in the book, that end punctuation mark, is not the entirety of the book. We have the ups, the downs, the images, the pictures, the incredible adventures, all of those things. That's what we remember a book for, not whether it ended
Yeah.
in a period, an exclamation point, a question mark, comma, although it would be strange to end one in a comma. But it isn't
Yeah.
just the punctuation at the end, it's everything. And so you have an entire lifetime that you'll be able to move forward, of memories that you'll be able to move forward with. And so it'll take a while, but I want to make sure that you've got everything that you need moving forward. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds
Um,
good. It sounds good.
right on.
Thank
So
you.
with that said, of course, I'm going to, and I apologize, by the way, if you see me looking down or looking to the side, just taking notes. I don't want to interrupt. And so you'll see me doing that, especially telehealth wise with the pandemic. For all future sessions as well, I am working through it. But I just want to make sure that you know that I'm committed to helping. And we all are here as well. And so anytime you need something, if you have a question, refer back to us, and more than willing to help you out. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
With that said, of course, um, do you think you want to meet again maybe around the same time next week? Would this work for you? Is this good for your schedule?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Any changes or anything like that, just let me know. Or just call us and we'll rearrange things. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I have your number,
Next week.
so.
Right on. Excellent. And then next week, if you want to talk about anything you've written, any conversations that you've had with siblings or with your father, we'll start there. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Christine, it was a
Sounds
pleasure
good.
meeting you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Have a nice evening. Hey there, Dr. Hohenstern. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for taking a look and taking the time to review this and for allowing me to be able to do this. I actually feel like it was a really, really beneficial exercise, even though it is makeup work. The reason being, I was able to really take a look at myself instead of just having to kind of do things live. I was able to go back and really scrutinize everything from my own movements, thoughts, gestures, tendencies. I know it's early on, and that's probably what you would say if we were conversing right now. But it's still good to see this early on. And so the following is just some of my reflection and analysis on what I did and saw while I was reviewing the footage. And so before I do any of that, though, I just want to say thank you. I mean that wholeheartedly. With that said, my very close friend, Christine, agreed. She was an incredible actress with everything. However, there are some things that I noticed that we did that probably wouldn't happen in a role play with one of my classmates or even in like an actual session professionally. And that is every once in a while, I couldn't tell if she was just being a really, really good actress, which she was at times, and almost threw me a couple of times too, or if she was struggling with material and things, like that she needed or felt that she needed to add in order to make the role play, good, for example. And at times I was pulling that along where I really didn't need to. She did morph it. It was supposed to be, a sudden accident for the vignette, and it became, her mother who passed away after a long bout with an illness. But it was going so well, I just kept going with it. That said, at around 4 minutes and 23 seconds in, I noticed that I wanted to start kind of helping, and so I interrupted. And I don't. I need to mention that one of the things that I've seen in some of the live role plays that I watched on YouTube, and just when I was watching some of the Capella videos, it's far more important to ask the open-ended question and wait and be patient. And I don't mean patient as in I was impatient and wanted things to move along quickly, so much as impatient with my feedback and my wanting to add conversation regulators. I have a tendency to not be very stoic. And while I don't have much for eyebrows, a lot of this, and so I'm going to have to limit some of that when I am, and I'm working on that. It's something that'll take time, but maybe a bit more, just muted, dial it down a little bit instead of, trying to make sure that you can see that I am also being apathetic and listening and doing a lot of that's not needed. And I don't think I would do that normally, but at the same time, wanted to mention it. Also, let's see, I have a list of a few things I wanted to talk about. Conversation regulators way more sporadically. And also when I'm rephrasing something or reflecting, I want to make sure that instead of empathizing fully and rephrasing or restating, I did it with the same level of emotional impact as the client, right? And so, plus it was my friend. And so when she started kind of almost tearing up and fake crying, I was kind of there with her. But the ability to empathize needs to be tempered and buffered a little bit. And so I need to make sure that I am effectively communicating and expressing the fact that I understand and I empathize, while also not stating, client, you're right. What you went through is awful and terrible and tragic and challenge. The other person on the other end of that is yeah, 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 yeah. It gets worse and worse and worse. And I don't want to bring them down even more just by empathizing. And so I want to make sure, I'm hitting points. I understand where you are. Yes, that was very challenging, but also not glossing over it. And so I recognized after I listened to it and watched it that there's a delicate balance there, and being conscious of it will help me with it in the future. So yeah, I need to make sure I don't have like the same level of emotion as the client does when they're discussing something difficult and tragic. Additionally, just setting the stage. At one point I did set the stage and kind of let the client know what to expect. We're looking for positive outcomes, obviously, but I also need to make sure I'm not using like professional jargon. At one point I said ideation when I was talking about the ethics portion of things, and the being a mandated reporter. Not every client is going to understand that, and I can gauge that, of course, but still it's something that I need to make sure that I'm aware of. Around 8 minutes and 21 seconds, I did this. That was a habit. I would do that anytime I'm listening to someone, if I wanted to. I remember from lecture, from our Zoom meetings, we discussed this, and also it was in the material from one of the earlier units, that I need to limit my gestures, what I do. I remember during my internship during undergrad psychology, I developed a special note-taking language, so that when I was shadowing one-on-ones with my supervisor and a live client said something and I thought it was really interesting, like this is going to make a great part, this will be a section heading in APA in all bold in my next paper, I didn't want the fact that I punched over my notepad and started scribbling away to be seen by the client, who was trying to focus, and my supervisor was also trying to focus on getting information out through open-ended questions and those things. That client, if they saw me, start feeling like, oh, what did I say? What did I do wrong? So I don't want anything that I do to interrupt the train of thought or the emotional expression of the client. So that said, you need to be just conscious of just listening, just being relaxed and letting the information come to me. And I think in role plays with other students, I do that. But with Christine, I gave her very little. I basically said, here's your age. You lost a parent to in a very sudden way, and you're feeling kind of down about it, and let's go. And she rolled with it and kind of changed it at one point as well, but still, she did a great job. So that said, I need to make sure that I'm not doing anything with my gestures, breathing, furrowing my brows or anything, so that doesn't interrupt. At the 11-minute mark, I kind of rephrased or refocused the case study, right? Just to kind of make sure that you could hear too, that yeah, we're talking about a parent that was going through or battling an illness, but yeah, that's something I wanted to point out. It's not exactly the same parameters, but the parent was lost, and I kind of focused on that and then tried to build some things around it. It seems like she also is feeling a bit guilty about not being there while that parent was going through the more difficult times leading up to her passing, and she was feeling guilty about not being there. I tried to encourage communication between her and her family and her ailing father as well. But one thing that I think is important also is, in that situation, I probably shouldn't just blindly encourage it. I should probably check a little bit just to see if that's really a safe thing for her, given where she is on a personal level, right? Like, how is she feeling? And I tried to ask a few times about the grieving process and how you're feeling about things. I don't want to just put a person in a vector path towards something that might not be ready for them just yet, or right for them just yet. hitting the 10-minute mark and try to go faster. I think that was one of the last things I wanted to say, though. I don't want to just say, yeah, go talk to your father. If she has a bad relationship with that person, sending her back there without any time or work an examination of that relationship is probably a bad idea. And so I wouldn't do that without more information. Hindsight being 2020, though, I definitely did. But I think it was, generally a good idea. And then at one point, she reflected and said, I think that what you're saying is right about X. And I said, oh, it's not about me being right so much as, about finding a good outcome for you. That is something in retrospect that I would say to a person. It's not about me being right, and that is true, but I think I would still just refocus it on them and let them know, depending on how the conversation was going. If they're a bit adversarial, I wouldn't make it a right or wrong kind of thing. But I do want the client to feel like they're coming to a lot of these conclusions on their own, based on things that we uncover through conversation. So with that said, I was a little bit more focused on the grief portion of it, and she moved more in a direction of guilt for not being present during the illness and later leading to her mother's passing away. That, and I say a lot more than I realized, and so I don't think I do conversationally, but when it's for an assignment or when it's not necessarily content that I'm very familiar with, I think I do. So something that I'll work on as well, or at least be conscious of. With that said, I believe that is everything. Thank you for joining me for this reflection and analysis. Thank you for joining the Bobs that you see behind me from Office Space. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. And more than anything, though, thank you for the opportunity to do this. I actually learned quite a bit from being able to kind of go back and see whether or not this is the kind of flow that I would want to have. I don't know. It was beneficial, highly beneficial for me. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching it as well. And have a nice day. Thanks.